Amen. Can broken wings ever fly again? Can a broken heart ever be mended? Can a broken life ever be made whole again? You know, there are only a few things we know about this broken woman, Mary Magdalene, but we know that this is precisely what Jesus made possible for her. Think about her for a moment. We know that in that ancient first century world in which she lived, that a woman's worth was measured by her marriage and her children. Well, we know that Mary Magdalene was single. Otherwise, she would have certainly been identified as Mary, the wife of so-and-so, or Mary, the mother of so-and-so. But Mary was from Magdala, and that's the only designation she had, Mary Magdalene. That is to say, she was nobody. And we know, too, that she was a woman with a deeply disturbed past. In the Gospel according to Luke, we read that she had been possessed by 7 demons. In modern terms, that means that she struggled with some form of mental illness. We don't know exactly what. All we know is that whatever these demons were and however they had broken her spirit, Jesus was the one who set her free to spread her wings and fly. And this Mary, who was nobody's wife, this Mary, who was nobody's mother, this Mary of Magdala, became the first witness to the central event of the Christian faith. You think about what kind of guts it must have taken for a woman in first century Palestine 2,000 years ago in that ancient world, what guts it took, how much grit it took for her to leave her home and to go and become one of Jesus' itinerant followers. Luke tells us that she was among the women whom Jesus had healed, who also helped to support him financially. How she must have loved him, because she was one of the few who stayed with him to the bitter end, who stood at the foot of the cross as he died. Matthew, Mark, and Luke all remember that she was one of those who accompanied his body to the tomb on Friday, and that she was the first one to arrive while it was still dark on that first Easter morning. And once again, she arrived there with broken wings, broken heart, broken dreams. John tells us that she stood outside that tomb weeping. And then Jesus appeared to her. He appeared to her in a way that she had never seen him before. She didn't even recognize him at first. But when he called her by name, Mary, then her eyes were open, and then she could see that it was her teacher, her friend, the best friend she'd ever had on earth, the one to whom she owed her life. Then out of sheer joy, Mary must have tried to throw her arms around him, to cling to him, and to never let him go. Letting go. I want to say something about that, because I think it's the hardest thing that you and I ever do in the course of a lifetime, especially when it's at the graveside of someone that we've loved. Letting go. I've come to believe that life is one long process of letting go, and the older you get and the more loss you experience, the loss of your youth, your health, your looks, your figure, your friends, your dreams, your loved ones, the more letting go we're called upon to do. And the more we're called to let go, the more we want to cling with all our might. And that's why what Jesus said next to Mary may have been the most important lesson he ever tried to teach her, and maybe the most important lesson he ever tries to teach us as well. He said, "Do not hold me." As some translations render it, "Do not cling to me." And then she knew that even though Jesus was alive, it was in a new and different way. No longer could she touch him. That part was over. No longer could she cling to him. No longer could she hold him. Just as the tomb could not hold him, neither could she, for he too was meant to spread his wings and to soar. And so are we. I came across this cartoon I've saved over the years in some old files that I was flipping through recently. It's one of my favorite cartoons. It shows these 2 caterpillars. They're down on the ground in the dirt, And they're looking up at the sky, and this beautiful blue sky, and there's this colorful, gorgeous butterfly flying over their heads, and one caterpillar says to the other, "You'll never get me up in one of those things." Oh yeah? Wait and see. The day will surely come when he will spin his cocoon, disappear inside it, be utterly transformed, to emerge one day and spread his new wet wings and soar. But first, he has to let go of his former earthbound life. First, he has to let go of that small, safe cocoon. Let go. This is one of the central teachings of our faith. It is so counterintuitive, this paradox of the highest order, but it's something that Jesus tried to teach us again and again and again, that the only things we get to keep are that which we are willing to give away, that it is in giving that we receive, that it is in losing that we find, that it is in emptying ourselves that we are made full, that it is in letting go that we can rise up and begin again, that it is in dying that we are born. The words of the great English poet William Blake, I think, are words worth memorizing. He says, "He who binds himself to a joy," that is, he who clings to a joy, "he who binds himself to a joy does the winged life destroy. But he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise." The winged life, all her life, she was only waiting for that moment to arise. Rise up, Mary. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. And boy, did she. She ran, she flew to the rest of those disciples to deliver what is, in fact, the first Christian sermon that was ever preached. And please take note, it was delivered by a woman. And the title of it was, "I Have Seen the Lord." The winged life. That's what Jesus gave to her. That's what is given to us. Like this hymn we sang, "Soar we now where Christ has led." Take your broken wings and learn to fly into the light of eternity's sunrise. I don't know about you, but that's where I want to be. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. There's a song about this. We sang it on jazz.